Welcome everybody, anybody who's actually here. Um, Getting started a bit early this evening for Tactical Pontoon, swimming with the pontoon number 34. I missed last week. Things came up. I got a couple things came up, so I didn't manage to make it for Sunday. It was another hot day, which I think today is actually hotter. Steven, what's up, man? Good to have you here. Yeah, good to have you here, man. It's been a heck of a week. It honestly has. And it's a hot one today. As I mean, it's been a hot year overall. I am probably by the end of this stream going to be a mess, a sweaty mess here in the swamp. Today just seems like it's even hotter than it has been in a while. I scheduled this thing for 6 o'clock, but we're gonna go live here a bit early, get things rocking and rolling, and just you know we'll see what goes on. Um, like I said, I missed last week. I was going to do like a wild card Wednesday or something on Tuesday, but it just didn't work out. What have I been up to? Well, I've been I've been a little bit out of stock on triggers. However, Gunco came through, fixed me up. I neglected on my end to order far enough ahead, and that caused a little bit of a delay, about a almost 2 weeks delay. My fault. I thought my supply was going to last longer than it actually did, and for better or worse, I ran behind. But they actually sent me two hot shots of extra triggers, and I've since run through those. But the next order is coming in this coming week. Some of you who had orders earlier on in the month that I was behind, you will notice when you get your trigger system, it won't have the laser etched Gunco emblem on the trigger shoe. Some of you, you're going to love that. Some of you, that might be a deal breaker, and we'll deal with it from there. But in order to keep me from being even farther behind, they hooked me up with some before they even hit the laser etcher. So if you get a trigger that doesn't have the laser etch logo here, I've got a whole tray of them going out tomorrow, and I had some that went out Saturday. So just a heads up. If you get one of those and you don't like it, I can get one with a laser etch. But I wanted to not be behind, so did what I had to do. And the guys at Gunco hooked me up, took care of me. So I hate being behind. In the past, when I was dealing with a lot more custom orders, and back in 2020, 21, even the beginning of 2022, I would be months out. I'm talking 2 or 3 months waiting for triggers, and fielding emails and making sure everybody knew, hey, they're coming. It's just going to take some time. So when I'm 2 weeks out, I freak out. But in the past, I've been months out. We're talking 2 or 3 months. But Gunco's been really good. 2021 was very insane for Glock parts. We're still not up to the same flow as we were, especially Glock 43, Generation 5 parts. They're not as available as they were in 2019 and earlier. But man, Steven, when you talk about buying Glocks just to part them out, I remember in 2018, 2017, that was a major thing when the P80 boom was massive. And at that point, you could buy factory Glock frames for like $25. I miss those days. Ooh. Yeah, 2021 was insane for Glock parts. I would scramble for Glock parts at that point. I ended up at that point, P80 took care of me with housings, their trigger block housings. They came through for me on those. Trigger bars, I was still, there was a lot of fights, but I was also not building as many systems as I do nowadays. It was still just part-time back at that point, but I still need a lot of them. But I need more nowadays than I did back then. So anyway, that's been kind of fun. Just being a little bit behind. This weekend I have been just balls to the wall getting trigger systems built up. That's the reason why. I mean, I'm kind of furry. Didn't even really prepare for the stream. If I hadn't have canceled last week, I may have canceled this week. So I do apologize, guys. It's not that I don't want to be here and stream with you. I do get a bit. I get a bit tired, but I also enjoy these streams, especially once I get started. The other thing that I've been working on this week is out in the shop, out of my other shop with my car, my project car. Hey, you made it. Good man. Glad to have you here. Yes, I've been out in the other shop working on my car since I was kind of shut down a little bit in the trigger department. I've spent quite a bit of time out in the shop working on the car, getting it back together finally. I mean, if you guys have been around, you know I've been struggling with getting a head for that motor. Finally got that in, which was the last part. 4 of those. Hey, pretty much all of my vehicles seem like they're projects in their own way. My main project vehicle, if you will. I finally have it together, mostly. I've got a few things to button up, but the engine is finally in. This is an engine that I started rebuilding back in 2021, and it was supposed to be a quick, month or so turnaround, and here we are 2 years later, finally back together. 3 heads later. I've got one at a machine shop currently. I haven't heard from him in like 2 months now. And he was just going to be, it'll be another week. And by that point, I was just done. I'm like, all right. So I was fortunate enough to find another one online in a group that was ready to go. Basically, had the upgraded valve springs that I need. It's not ported. I have a ported head at the machinist that needs finished, but I was just ready to get it back together. So it is together, bolted together. The engine is in. I got it started. A few little issues here and there. I had clutch engagement issues. It wouldn't disengage. But there was some adjustment that needed to be made in the hydraulic system, so I was able to do that. I actually backed it up today and moved it forward. So that was a big plus to have finally seen that car move after 3 years of it being down. I pulled that car out of my shop, my back little shed, really, back in 2020 when everything was locked down. I said, well, if everything's going to be shut down, I'm going to work on a car. I'm going to put this car back originally I was just going to drive it, and then I had to replace the fuel pump, and next thing I knew, I had the engine out. So that's kind of how those project cars go. But you guys don't want to hear about that. You might, maybe you want to. But that's been what I've been working on. Also triggers. Like I said, I got a hot shot of triggers. I've been catching up. I'm still about a week out on getting caught up, and then with the new orders that have come in, it's going to be busy. But that's not a bad thing. That keeps things moving here. That keeps this fat kid fed, and yeah, as the wheel turns. Today's been a day. Really online. I need to get offline. It's just been social media. Just kind of sucks. Maybe I'll go on X. I've talked about it. I haven't really been on Instagram pretty much since they did the Threads launch, and really 2020. Instagram has been a cesspool. Just between the reels and the stories. I miss old school Instagram when you posted pictures. People actually got to see your pictures. There wasn't near as much censorship as there is now. they want you to pay for your verified blue check mark. And I see people are having success with that. I guess part of it is just not worrying so much about the advertising part of it, which is what Instagram was, and just have some fun posting pictures as I go along. I get caught up in it just because it's what I do now, and there's no guarantee when you wake up every day. Every day is a new day, and you gotta be on the grind, building triggers, answering questions, advertising. Steven, you already got canceled as you made the new one. I'm telling you, it's bad. It's bad out there on the social media side. Honestly, it's gotten to the point where I'm enjoying, and I hate to say this, but I'm enjoying Facebook groups more than Instagram. I don't even like saying that, but it's true. And even then, the Facebook groups today was one of those days where there was a guy on one of the groups that was talking about he needed a what was it, a dead nuts reliable trigger and for his EDC, and I put the Peacemaker 4.0, which is what it was designed for. I put that on there, and I had the guy, oh well, is it proven? What's to say that it's truly proven? And I'm like, well, it's good. It was designed with that in purpose. It's not too crazy. All of the Glock safeties remain, and I know what I'm doing. He posts some spiel about how it's not third party tested like Overwatch and Apex, and it's not issued to agencies across I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's not. You are correct. It doesn't have a bunch of third party tests. Just tell me you wanted agency. Or not agency. Overwatch or Apex. Okay, they have put a lot of money in doing in getting their stuff out there. I'll give them that. But as for the quality and reliability, the reality of all of that, truly the reality of it is, if you or whoever you're having do the install, if they don't do it right, I don't care what drop in it is, you can have problems. And then if you don't maintain your weapon, check it from time to time and verify, it's not the trigger's fault. There's some responsibility on your end. Once that reliability and stick with OEM, but at the same time, if it's not installed right, and you don't check your stuff, who's to say it's reliable? But at the same time, like, I get it. There was no winning on that one. It sometimes it just gets under my skin. So I was feeling that one because it's what I do. So, well, whatever. You're not going to please everybody. And if somebody wants to complain, they're going to find a reason to complain. Troubleshooting is a lost art. Basic installation is a lost art. Just inspection alone of mechanical things is kind of a lost, dying art. And it's very unfortunate, because I'll field various questions that if a person just open their eyes and look at when certain things move against other things, if there's an issue, it's going to show. Especially, when you have a gun apart, and you're showing pictures of a gun apart, and you're talking about it, you can look in as you move things and look, what is rubbing against this? What is rubbing against that? What could possibly be causing a wear mark here? When you have, and especially if you have a variety of frames. Let's say you have two frames. One of them is bone factory. Nothing has been done to it. And then you have one that you've done something to. Well, now you can do what we used to call Chinese blueprint. Take a look at the one that is factory and is working just fine, and then look at the other one. Check things out. If this one then has something that's been modified, if it is doing something different than the one that is factory, let's see why. Or, and this is another big one, is people will, and I'm guilty of this in the past and still guilty of this, where you get into something and you start changing things without knowing the proper way that it works, and then you're stuck with something that is having an issue. Well, you don't know what the proper operation is. Now, if you do have some sort of mechanical aptitude, you can probably check. The other thing that I will run into, or that can be run into, is just basic troubleshooting where you replace parts. And when you start to replace one part at a time and then something changes, that's when you start to know that there's an issue with that thing that you've changed out. If you start changing things and wherever the problem moves to, you have an idea, or when it starts to go away, you have an idea, hey, this is where we've got an issue. Troubleshooting is an art that is being lost. And here lately, it's kind of funny to kind of go along with this. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. I remember watching it years ago and thinking, man, these guys, dumbasses. Gold Rush, Alaska Gold Rush. And there's plenty of stupid stuff on there. But just some of the fixes, aside from all the drama and whatnot, but you see some of these bush mechanics that have to come up with fixes, and some of them I've caught are a little bit suspicious, and they've dramatized some stuff up, and some of that stuff, no. But some of those bush mechanic fixes that they do are ingenious. It's beautiful to see the ingenuity of just troubleshooting with very limited very limited tools and resources, just to see what some people come up with. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of the show at this point, when I get a chance to watch them. And the drama of pulling people doing some really stupid things, and that's reality TV for you. But just seeing some of the mechanical fixes that they do is very impressive, and it makes me want to be better at that sort of thing myself, to be more capable. Even here this week with working on my car, putting it back together, because I was very fortunate that when I took everything apart, I labeled things, I put them in bags, different bolts, mostly. There's still stuff spread out, but for the most part, I had things labeled when I took it apart, and I had it in various crates so that when I went to put it back together, I had most everything. Well, after I had the engine in basically together, I didn't have a radiator installed. There was a strip bolt and a thermostat housing, but I was at least to the point where I could put power to the car and start it. At least that was the plan. So I had the battery, a new battery, because the other new battery that I bought 3 years ago has since died. And it would, even with the trickle charger, I couldn't get it to take a charge again. With a new battery, I had it installed. I hooked things up. I went inside the car, and absolutely nothing. no power whatsoever. And I kind of had a feeling that that's what I was going to run into when I put the battery cables on, and there was no, normally there's just a little spark. There's always a kind of a constant draw of sorts with a newer, man, I am sweating my butt off here. Sorry guys. So I get inside the car, turn the key, and there was nothing. There was no power whatsoever. I've been through this before. At one time, initially when I drug this car out of the shed 3 years ago, I had no power whatsoever. Rats had eaten through the wiring harness. I'd fixed that. I patched that together. But now I had no power. Now I could have freaked out. Easy enough to do. But I got out the multimeter and I figured out just a little bit of I've got power here from, make sure that my grounds are good. And that's where it came back to was I could read power here, here, and here. But when I went to the fuse box and you go to verify that you have any power in the fuse box, I had power up to the fuse box, but no power in the fuse box, which means if I have power up to it, I'm not getting a connection. So I would check various places in the fuse box. There's no power in the fuse box. That means there's no ground. That fuse box is not being ground. I could get power other places, but not to the main fuse box. So I checked to see if there was a continuity between the fuse box and the frame and the chassis and the battery. There was not. So I added ground wire, a temporary ground wire from the battery to the body. Had power. Could have freaked out. Could have checked all the wiring harness. Could have looked this and that. But because I knew how to use a multimeter, basic troubleshooting, I found out what my issue was, ran temporary ground, car got power. It was good. We were good at that point. Another thing that I ran into after that was my clutch would not disengage. Now, I haven't really messed with that side of things before, but I knew that I had put in a new clutch disc. That meant I needed more stroke from the system in order to disengage that clutch. And before I had put that car down, it was, the clutch was fairly wore out. I know this isn't really trigger stuff. This is troubleshooting stuff. And this is just kind of, me babbling. This is the live stream. I apologize if you wanted to hear trigger stuff and you're hearing car stuff. So I started playing with things and I didn't want to pull one of the things that could possibly be wore out, but I do have an aftermarket version in there. It's just an older one. Is there's a pivot arm that pushes against the throwout bearing that pushes on the front of the clutch to help disengage it. It's a little bit wore, but it had been working. I figured, maybe that's wore out. I really don't want to. I don't want to split that thing. I don't want to drop the engine and split that thing up again at this point. So I decided to add inside of the slave cylinder that goes into the transmission. I added a very short bolt that adds a spacer basically on the rod that activates that arm. Lo and behold, it disengaged the clutch. So didn't completely disengage it. There's actually another place where you can, there's adjustment up underneath the dash that also changes the stroke of the master cylinder. Anyways, there it was. Clutch disengages. I'm able to drive it back and forth. So troubleshooting is an art. It is something that people, I would love it if more people knew how to troubleshoot. And I try to teach how to troubleshoot uh, more videos are coming on that. I've got videos on here on YouTube that talk about troubleshooting. I get people that ask for just basic install videos. And the thing is, I'm probably never going to do a basic install video. There are enough videos out there, there are enough disassembly videos out there that they're out there. I don't need to do a basic install video. My goal is to teach the troubleshooting aspect, the base, even the basic troubleshooting of, hey, this part rubs against this part, and you can see it in one of the last videos I did on slide, on the top of a slide, things that look for tracks, look for those things that tell you what's moving against what acts against what. Look at this thing. I like to tell people that at the very least, and you can expound upon that, is at the very least, when it comes to triggers, have a factory Glock trigger assembly there. And yes, mistakes are a great learning tool. Make mistakes. If you don't make a mistake from time to time, you're not going to learn. You have to make some mistakes. You are going to make some mistakes if you're ever going to learn and get better at things. That's, I think, and I'm one of those people that I hate making mistakes, but I know that I have learned some of my best lessons from making mistakes. And I used to tell my guys when I had my crew and I was supervisor at Northrop Grumman, I need you guys to make mistakes. I need you to learn from those mistakes. But if you're constantly coming to me looking for the exact answer, I cannot rely on you. I need you to make a mistake. I will back you up. If you legitimately tried and you made a mistake, I'll back you up and we'll go from there. And I had one guy, I don't know if you're watching, Bruce, you probably aren't, but I always very proud of my head painter. When he came to me on my crew, he was kind of a second or third year trainee painter, but they had kind of forced him into being a lead, and they gave him to me. And he was one of those people, very smart. He picked up on his job very well, but he didn't want to make a mistake. So very, very often he would call me to ask and verify whatever he was doing. Simple stuff. And it would freak me out. I'm like, oh, this guy, he knows what he's doing, but he won't get out of his own way. So I had to get with him and say, hey, make a mistake. I need you to be able to make choices, good or bad. Make the best choice that you possibly can in that instant. Make that mistake. If it's a mistake, it's a mistake. We'll deal with it, but you tried. And you learn from it. He actually had a time, and I still give him crap to this day. Bruce, again, if you're listening, I'm actually extremely proud of where you've come from, but I'm going to use your mistakes as part of my talking point here. This was something that he knew better than to do. We had some fiberglass bathroom walls. It was basically a toilet from an aircraft, and he painted it, and they put it under the heat lamp. Normally, you could have it flash off for a very short period of time, but they put it under a heat lamp and left. Had 100 other parts as well. Happened to have this toilet assembly as well. It deformed. It melted. Needless to say, never did that again. But there were many other times when he made a decision and it worked out without ever having to come to me. And I would trust him to the ends of the earth with so many different things. But it took getting there. It took making those mistakes. It took getting out on that ledge and knowing that he had the ability to make a decision, and he grew from that. So I guess when it comes to it, be cautious, but be okay with making a mistake and with learning. You, having all of the answers ahead of you, in front of you, and having somebody baby step and walk you through it, you're never going to learn, and you may never actually get it right, because you maybe during that instance you will figure things will get fixed, and then something else, that same problem may happen again, and you don't have somebody there to baby step you through it, and you didn't actually learn how to fix that or what went wrong. So I guess that's my long-winded way of saying, get some hands on, learn a few things. Back to having a factory trigger, have a factory Glock, have a factory gun, whether it's a PSA dagger, I guess P80, have a factory Glock. In the end, have a factory Glock as an example piece. Look at it, play with it, learn how it works, learn how the system works. Everything from the guide rod to how ammo feeds, why different ejectors are the way they are. One of the funniest things is when I see people ask about why their ejectors bent. And that's a simple rookie thing, and I get that. You're gonna look at it and you're like, well, that's bent, and especially Gen 3s, and I get that. But take a moment, do some research before you make a post and or bother me, which doesn't mean it's okay to bother me, but there are some times when I get some questions. It's like, really. At the same time, I'm here to teach people, and I do. I try not to come off being a jerk. Sometimes I think sometimes I do, and there are certain times when I'm stacked up 10 or 15 triggers deep trying to get things built, and I'll get a question when it's like, maybe just a little bit of research before you just hit me up. That's just me complaining. Really, it's okay. It's all right. Involved. Be right back. Buying 2 more Glocks and 3 cases of ramen. Hey, at one time I was selling triggers that included a protein bar, better than ramen. And I do. My goal is to teach, because there are a lot of people that need to, they need those questions, or maybe I can present it in a way that's better than just a cut and dry manual. Some of these manuals they kind of suck. I have trouble with certain manuals. I'll be reading them and the words just don't translate into my brain. I'll be the first to admit some of these, and maybe for some other people, they'll read it and it just clicks. For me, there are certain manuals I'll read and I got to read it 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, the way this is worded, it doesn't quite make sense to me. So I got to get hands on with the manual there. And whether it's putting together furniture at times, a gun, certain parts to a gun, car manuals, whether it's an old school Haynes or Chilton, or a factory service manual. Sometimes the way they word things doesn't quite make sense, or it doesn't quite match up to what you got in front of you. Hey, Nordic Nevada and the man who makes the best damn shirts. If you want a Tactical Pontoon t-shirt, that's the man, Nordic Nevada, and hit him up. Steven, manuals with good pictures. Man, I do too. Good pictures or good detailed drawings. I miss I miss some of the old, not so much Boeing, especially older Boeing stuff. Pull my hair out with some of those pictures. Or actually, what would happen is we'd get some bad microfiche files, and they were just not copied over very well from the 50s, and you couldn't read what they were talking about. Oh my god. Or just some of the parts layups are so, especially structures wise, so many different layers that would get drawn into one blueprint, trying to find that certain clip or the location of certain things would just drive me insane. Miss those. Uh, Haynes manuals have pissed me off many times. Yeah, many times. Haynes, I always, if I could, I would choose Chilton's before Haynes. And nowadays, I've just gotten to the point where I find a factory service manual. I'll find one online. Um, eBay sometimes will have one, a PDF copy. I'm big on factory service manuals. It's what I was using when I was putting this car back together. Certain things that I had questions about, factory service manual. The days of Chilton's and Haynes where I would trust them, not so much anymore. Now, older vehicles, early 90s and before, I could normally get Haynes or Chilton's to work pretty well for me. I feel like here in these later years with the more advanced electronics, it's very hit or miss. But then again, trying to go through some of the electrical parts of factory service manuals can be difficult. Excuse me. But if you take your time, it's doable. It's all doable. Uh, so yeah. Um, there was something else. Torque specs. Are they? Probably. You know, there's a general torque spec for most size fasteners. Now there will be a variations for some specialized fasteners or used in specialized places, but for the most part, there is actually a pretty basic generalized torque spec for different size fasteners of different strengths. It varies, but yeah, yeah. I hadn't looked at here lately at a Haynes. I'd say for the last 10 years or so, I've just stuck to factory service manuals. Kind of kept the same basic vehicles, my old junk Dodges, and I have factory service manuals for those. So I've been kind of, or I just don't work on them, like the newer Jeep, old Jeep Renegade. Had a little Kia for a while, traded that off before it decided to eat itself. Even pay for, there was a time when I paid for oil changes. Nowadays I really don't have the, yeah, I've got the shop with the lift now, so I can't quite justify paying for an oil change, but I can't blame you. I really can't. There, you have to justify, hey, is my time and effort more valuable doing something else? And if it is, don't do your own oil changes. Don't do your own maintenance. If your time is more valuable elsewhere, I got no problem with that. Know how to do it. Know how to do some things. Have a general troubleshooting idea. Be able to change your own tire if your vehicle has a spare tire. A lot of them don't. But having a general idea of how to do it, that's good. But if your time is more valuable somewhere else, perfectly fine. Same goes with the gun. If you don't know what you're doing, find a good person to install it that does. Now, just like mechanics, there's a wide variety of gunsmiths. That is one of the reasons why I have the Tactical Pontoon installer program. I have people that have taken the time to get with me, and we've talked about how to install these triggers. And if they have questions, they come directly to me. They know enough that when I give them instructions, they can follow them. And then if we have trouble outside of that, we'll figure it out. Or they have extra parts there to fix the issue. So when it comes to those tactical pontoon installers, you've got Unicorn Customs, excellent dude. Sapper Tactical Creations, another excellent top of the line guy. Tommy Gun Stippling, another top of the line guy, knows what he's doing. Walk the Plank Customs, also excellent guy, knows what he's doing. You have also Josh McCabe at JM Customs. Guy knows what he's doing. He can install my triggers. So, and I'm probably forgetting somebody, and I hate to do that. Oh, Defiant Customs, formerly Piccoli Gunworks, knows what he's doing and can install a trigger. So there's a reason why I have my dedicated installer program. Recon Gunworks knows what he's doing. There's a reason. So you have better things to do, get with one of those guys, get an entire build done, have them install the trigger. He can completely buy the trigger, install the trigger, and you don't even have to worry about it. Nordic Nevada, and I won't do oil changes anymore. If I had a lift, access to a lift, maybe. I just changed the blend oil in the Stang, though. Had to rip the passenger side dash bar. Whoa. Oh, blend motor. Oh, man. I do not. Wow. That's one of those things. I hate ripping dashes apart. I've only done a couple. Whew. Man, I feel for you there. But you saved a lot of money versus having somebody else do it. So I can't blame you there. Jack the Charger up and crawl underneath it. Yeah, that's a heavy car. I have a Challenger. It is a heavy porker of a car. Getting underneath of it, jacking it up. Like I said, I've got the lift nowadays, but I've spent plenty of time underneath that big old pig. a lift is nice. It's one of those things that when I was able to do it, I'm very thankful. I would love to have a second one at this point. I don't really see that in the cards right at the moment, but and it's sad. It does make you a little bit lazy. I've gotten to the point where I hate sliding underneath underneath the vehicle when I can lift it up, and then I'll get lazy. I'll be like, man, I got it lifted up. Now I got to drop it back down. Then I got to lift it back up because I'm short. But I guess nothing's perfect when you're getting your hands dirty. So I mean, like I said, I'm very fortunate when it comes to that. But yeah, if your time is more valuable doing something else, it's fine. Have somebody else do it. I'm perfectly fine for that. But if you're one of those people that's going to get your hands dirty, be okay with making a mistake from time to time. And because you're doing it yourself, there's a learning curve. Nothing in this world is completely drop-in. And the thing is, the more you spend, the more custom of an item that you get, there's a more of a chance you're going to have to do some work to make it function correctly. Especially the more custom of an item is, that's the truth. I have many parts that I have spent more money on that I've had to beat into place. Turbo headers. You're going to have to know how to do more things to get those higher performance things to work right. They have adjustments, they have fittings, they have little things, and the same goes with Glocks. If you have a basic ass general Glock that's a Toyota Corolla, and you have nothing changed on it, it's probably going to function perfectly fine. But you go throwing in some extra parts, you need to make sure that they work together. It's not the more that you spend on it, the better it's going to fit. There's going to be fitment issues. It's just the way it is. Yes, need the building to put the lift in. First world problems. I know the building came. I almost, for myself, I almost skipped the lift. I had everything come together where I could put the building up, put the concrete pad in. I almost skipped doing the lift. And I started looking at the little 2-foot little liftlets that you can move around. And for the price, I was like, why? What are you doing, James? Just bite the bullet, put the lift in. You know, it's not a fancy lift. I think like $5,000, I think, to have it installed. And I could have saved money to try to put it up myself. But there are better people for that. And they came out, they installed it. It took a little while for them to get out there, but they did it. I'm very thankful for it. Yeah, heater cores. Whew, dude, you're a hero because, like I said, the last one I did was in one of those Dodge Neons, like I've got out in the shop. It was the first generation. I pulled my hair out. This has probably been 10 or 15 years ago. I haven't done one in years. So to do one in that Mustang, and you're a hero in my book. Like, seriously, hero status right there. That alone. If you were thinking about buying a t-shirt, buy one now. Maybe send him a tip, because holy crap. That's something even now I don't even want to tackle. If it's a project car, for the most part, the heater core, it's out. I don't even have power steering. I could have put power steering in, left power steering out. Yeah. And I'm one of those things. Hey, sometimes you got to cut. Sometimes cutting through the firewall to get that heater core is acceptable. If it was my own vehicle, that's probably be the way I would go. If I had to change it, and time wise, yeah, that's not for everybody. I try not to cut corner. I mean, I cut corners here and there when it doesn't matter as much. I sometimes. So, yeah, excited about getting the project car. Hearing it run for the first time was great. It's been a long time coming. Maybe tomorrow I might be able to do the first test drive. Got a little bit of smoke here and there from parts that are new, with new paint and Cerakote and stuff. They're curing off. I hate seeing smoke come out, but that's normal. Got to tighten a few things up. Like I said, I've got the clutch disengaging like it should. So yeah, maybe I'll get a chance to do a little test drive. I'll put the bumper back on. Excuse me. Maybe we'll see a little bit of boost. We shall see. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I need to send out to a couple of you guys some of the Tactical Pontoon troll stickers. We talked about them the last video. Like I said, things have been kind of crazy. Stuart, for sure. MF, which, why can is it? It's Ray. Got you. I get you guys some sent out. I'm going to send some stickers out to people this week. Gotta love these things. Gonna roll with it. Trolls for life. That's been fun. Ray, I'm sorry. Guy, I do. I get a lot of messages from a lot of different people, and I do try to keep everybody's name, but I forget. I forget sometimes to send things out. Not even gonna lie. Troll toll. Oh yeah, somebody's bringing up the Always Sunny. That's some fun stuff. I haven't watched it. I kind of stopped watching it after like season 8 or so. It just wasn't as good. I've heard the last season is pretty damn good, so maybe I'll have to catch up. But yes, Troll Toll, the day man. If you haven't seen Always Sunny, it's kind of crazy. It's fun. So What do I have coming down the pipeline? I have a trigger system. It's kind of crazy. It uses a factory trigger shoe. It's not cheap. It's not meant to be cheap. It's kind of like a Leonidas with a factory trigger shoe. A little bit shorter reset than even a Heisenberg. It's pretty damn nice. It's not cheap. Again, it's kind of going to be like my Halo trigger. It's like top of the line, not Halo, Microsoft Halo, but it's really, 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 really up there nice. But again, it's not for everybody. Only going to be a few of them. The Elite, the Tactical Pontoon Elite Legend. It's gonna be up there. It's gonna have a 10. I'm gonna throw some other things into it. As when you buy one, I might even serialize them. Very possible I will serialize them. Um, it's not pretty. Like I said, it's a factory curved trigger shoe that will have the little ledge taken down on the front so that it does make it more comfortable when you shoot. Um, but it will sit above the Leonidas. It's not for looks. It's just up there as the Halo. It is a serious trigger system. I've built a couple. I've built some of these in the past. I have not added them to the website. They should come. I'm going to take some pictures. I will get it on the website. I'm still finalizing some details. Like I said, it'll come in a tin. I'm going to laser etch some serial numbers. It will be special. It's not for everybody. It's not cheap. It's okay if it's not for you. Perfectly okay. I've got a wide range. Everything from the Peacemaker 4.0 Dagger tune-up kit. Those have been extremely good sellers. They've had really good results for those. The Sleeper, I thought about calling it the Sleeper. At one time, I thought about there was a similar system at one time called the Ninja. Was it Stealth? I think it was called the Stealth. But I think I'm going to go with the Elite Legend or Legend Elite. I think it'll be the Tactical Pontoon Legend Elite. It's going to have a pretentious name just because. Because it is. It's up there. Finalizing details, going to get pictures, which means I got to take some pictures. Most of my evenings I've been working on the car because of just how hot it is. That's normally when I take pictures. I'm going to get some good pictures probably this week. No guarantees, but again, it's not for everybody. It's not cheap. Just gives another tier for certain people that are looking for something. Desert Tactical Dave, what is up? Gotta watch your video. I saw you got a new video out. If you haven't, go check. Hey, check out Desert Tactical. Good dude. Dave is coming up in this world. Love his channel. Need to get him some more stuff here soon. Build him something cool. And I also need to send you a connector because I really would like to see a new variation of the Heisenberg video because I think I know what happened. So, yes, Stuart, it's time for another build. I've got builds that I haven't worked on. I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't worked on some of the builds that I need to finish up. I've got the JM Customs build on the Zero Delta frame. I need to finish that up. I may actually send it out for some Cerakote. We've got the Terminator build. I want to do something Terminator themed. It's got the Terminator trigger in it. Obviously, we need some laser etching, some Terminator with the Gunco slide, the Nomad frame. I'm waiting for Nomad to have their magwells back in stock. They ran into some anodizing issues. Production, having supply can be difficult. Full size SCT frame. Is that a new headset? Yes, it is a new headset. I had a Corsair headset. The little pads for the ears, the little fake leather started coming apart, and I had black crap all over my head. Instead of replacing them, I did a quick search. I said, hey, what does Joe Rogan use? And I didn't quite feel like spending that much money on, there's Sennheiser. These are Sennheisers. I bought the level down. So I figured if I can get one level down from what Joe Rogan uses, I'm good to go. They're not bad. They're lighter. They are a lot lighter, which is nice. Volume's not quite as loud. SCT. I'm hearing December. I've actually been in talks with them about a couple things. So maybe I can push on them. They dropped a new magwell. They did drop a dedicated magwell for the SCT frames. So that will be good for people that are always asking me which magwell I use. And I really don't want to tell them because it doesn't fit exactly. Hey, I got kicked out of an SCT group. There's a Facebook SCT group, and I guess I riled things up and I got kicked out, which is fine, perfectly fine. I spent a lot of time answering questions for one of the moderators, and he would never buy anything from me. He would never recommend things. He would never recommend me to people that were looking for triggers. I spent a lot of time answering questions and troubleshooting things for him. Good riddance. I'm glad to be out of that group. I just, hey, whatever. Carlo Sangria, happy Sunday. Patiently waiting for my Peacemaker drop in. It's coming. I'm catching up. I have been behind. I do apologize and thank everybody for being patient with me. Yes, G19 clones. They're popular. They are popular. Yeah, the price on those magwells are really nice. And I like the design. Hopefully, I'll probably get one in here soon. I've got the GG magwell for the PSA dagger. Can't talk about it. There's other stuff that can't talk about it. Yeah, Nordic Nevadan. I got booted. What will full size SBT? The SCT will be for the last I heard it's G17 Generation 3. They're basing all full size aftermarket frames, aside from P80, which I don't really count that, are based on Generation 4, Generation 5. The SCT will be based on Generation 3, which is freaking cool because it's a group that has been neglected for quite a while. So the SCT will be based on Generation 3, which is really cool. I'll ask to see, but if they did like a modified, like I said, it's base Generation 3. So if you're looking to build a G45 or G47, you're going to have to look at like Dagger or Nomad. But these are Generation 3, which is really, I'm telling you, I'm really excited because that opens up my Glock 31. I've got a Glock 31 slide that needs a home. It will be on an SCT. I want to build more Glock 31s. That's my crazy caliber of choice, is the 357 SIG. TN Tactical within the gun culture. Your thoughts? Because I've been around a while, because I'm old. Not really. I'm not old. I just got gray hair. I have a gray beard. Hairs would be gray, but there's not a lot of them up top. Almost any groups are going to have toxic parts in them. car, I'm big into the car groups. There's as much in car groups as there is in gun groups. Um, in general, people will argue. There will be groups. I've seen it in everywhere. You will have groups that when they group up together, you're going to have people that want to help. You're going to have new people that come in and they get shit on because they ask stupid questions, or it does happen. There's a lot of people like, uh, maybe not like, but there's always going to be issues when you get a group of people together. It's kind of the way it is. So you're going to have some groups that are more fair. You're going to have some that are less fair. You're just, it's when people mix, and it's just kind of the way it is. You know, I can, I mean, I can point fingers and say that these people are terrible, that Smith and Wesson owners suck, or that Ruger owners have, they all drive 1973 Chevys that are rusted through. Whatever it is. You can say what you will, but there's a mix of people, and whenever you get a mix of people, especially online, the old saying about you wouldn't say that in front of me because you're going to get punched in there, however it goes. I'm paraphrasing, because you know you're not going to get punched in the mouth. Keyboard warriors, you're going to find that drama and bullying is part of it. Insecurities always float to the top. That's the truth. Uh, yeah, I did. I got booted from that. There was a guy. I think what happened was there was a post with an SCT frame. It kind of looked like my Iron Man frame. I posted the Iron Man frame, and I think I'm guilty. Called it his Dollar General Iron Man. It's a little bit nicer. I ruffled some feathers, but I don't think it was completely. Because then he said, "Oh well, that's probably hydro dipped," and it's not an SCT frame, so I posted some of my SCT frames. I don't know. I guess I ruffled some feathers. I'm guilty as much as anybody else. It's the internet. Whatever. Cheap builds. I thought about doing an expensive gun like Glock group. I don't know. Like I said, it's the internet. You're gonna find toxic people, insecure people that like to brag, and good people. Heck, I'm a little bit of all of them. I am. I'll bring good information. I'll brag a little bit. I'll show things off. I'll pick on people from time to time. It does happen. Um, from High Point owners all the way to Atlas 2011, real fight. The petty stuff doesn't. You're right. Um, all we run into it the same with car groups. Um, if you've watched the type of stipulations and regulations that have come down on the aftermarket modifications of cars, it's as crazy in many ways as, maybe not, it's up there. Like, I've seen so many, whether it's diesel builders to car builders, any of these tuners. I personally have HP tuners. I've been using it for years on my vehicles. The the things that you can do with that product have become less and less, and it got to the point last year where you had to sign away and sign a waiver that you're now on a database for modifying cars, for opening up options that you used to have. You had to go through a little course and basically say that, nothing you do is going to be used on the road. It's, yeah, sucks. So yeah, good and bad everywhere. Did I deserve to be kicked? Maybe. I also tried to bring a lot of good information to the group and get some inspiration for SCT builds because I really like that frame. I do like that frame. I would love to see some, and I've seen some really high end builds. I've seen some low end builds. There's room for all of them. I like all of them. I'll. That's why I have my line of triggers that goes from my basic stuff all the way up to the high end. I I want to help everybody. I want to build something that a person can spend their money on and know that it works. Maybe you'll need some tuning. Could happen. Uh, to make sure it works because there's a lot of variances. Daggers have a lot of variances. P80s, nothing but variances. So, yeah, I don't know. When your car qualifies as an NFA item, you're doing it right. Not quite, but almost. Mine's almost there. One of them. So, yeah. All right. I've been on here for about an hour. Voice is starting. I can start to feel the voice starting to break on me here. Not quite as sweaty as I thought I was going to be. I guess I did. I didn't think it was that bad. I was actually, and it's funny because I thought I was gonna get the picture of the on the main group. Like mine was top of the runnings for the main group picture. I got I got screwed out of the last month. The moderator screwed me out of the because I had the most votes and then he changed the rules and I lost out. I was on top for this month. I take pride in my photography. I do take pride in my photography. I like having different group pictures. I've got, you know, I've got some group pictures. Dagger group. I have a Dagger group. I have a Glock Society group. I think I've got one other, but I take pride in my pictures. I'd like to see better pictures. Photo room's fine. I think photo room's fine. It does give people the chance to take better pictures and cut out their socks and their bed. So, whatever. I don't know. But no, don't go picking on them. Don't go picking on them. Let them be their little closed group. Maybe I'll create my own SCT group. I get one of the first frames that comes out, and I don't know. It doesn't. I've got enough stuff to do without that sort of petty crap. I thought it was funny. Somebody actually messaged me and asked me where my pictures went, and because mine was in the runnings, theirs was second place, and they asked me where my pictures went, and I went to go look up the group, and I was gone. Yeah, Tactical Pontoon group. Maybe. I got the Tactical Pontoon page. We'll see. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about doing a page. I used to, I spent a lot more time on Instagram at one point, but it's kind of gone to crap. Instagram's gone to crap. I mean, it's all Facebook. I don't know. I'll think about it. 3DP for we'll see. I might. That'd be fun. A Twitter. I've thought about it. I've seriously thought about it. After all this meta crap, I've thought about Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter since like 2008, 2009. Like I was early. I did the early thing. One of my friends showed me it, and I did the pictures of food and that type of crap. And I was an early. I saw the possibility because at that point I was running a car forum. Go figure. And a small car forum, and I thought, you know what? If I get all of my guys, Tactical Pontoon troll group, that could be. I push some buttons. I thought if I get all my guys that are on my forum, a lot of them, because we were small, we were kind of a close knit. We kind of got kicked off another forum because we were newer. We had kind of crazy. We were going against the grain, something I'm always about. Uh, I started Twitter for the forum and I got a bunch of them to join. And so whenever there was a new post that was interesting, I would send out a Twitter. I would send out a tweet. So I was early on, but again, it was different times. I didn't stick with it. So yeah, even your money. Yeah, it's for my bunghole. I'm coming up with some more stickers. We'll maybe we'll do some toilet paper meme on one of them. We'll see. But all right, I'm gonna get off here. TP. I get a lot of the tampon. I think was another one. Somebody said it reminded them tampon. It's like, oh, I can see that one too. I don't know. I'm not gonna get too deep into it. But guys, it's been fun. I had a good time. I was, like I said, I wasn't feeling it today, but this has been a good one. We'll do it again here soon. I will try not to miss any more, and I'll try to get back on the video thing and get some stuff produced. I lost my monetization. They changed some rules. I got to go back and get it. That kind of threw me out. Not that I was making any money. I think they owe me a sum total of $17, but it kind of gave it extra little push. I was like, hey, I'm monetized, yay! But we'll see. I gotta get that back through. Not that I even count on it money wise. It's kind of neat. Gives me a little push. Anyways, on to the next one. I will catch you guys later. As always, if you need anything, seriously, you're not a bother. Hit me up, whether you're leaving a message here, whether you're sending them an email on tacticalpontoon@gmail.com. The website has contact forms. You can find me on Instagram, tactical_pontoon, maybe the Tactical Pontoon Facebook group. We will see. As it is, I will catch you guys later. Have a good rest of your evening, weekend, and back to the grind tomorrow.